Yo, what is up? It has been a little bit, and I am so happy to see each and every one of you guys here, whether it be today, whether it be tomorrow, whatever point that it be. I am happy to see you guys here. Man, it's a lot of things happening over this little bit of time, and I just wanted to stop by and talk to y'all in Jay's neighborhood and try to see where you all's thoughts are and kind of how you all are feeling. Some crazy information, things that I didn't know anything about, and so I highly doubt that you guys knew as well. Or maybe you did. Maybe you guys are smarter than what I am, and that's the whole reason why we are having this conversation. I don't know if you guys are aware, and let me know whether or not if you are. But I don't know if you guys are aware of some of the things that are happening around us. Honestly, I just started listening to some. I was listening to the radio earlier, and I heard Malice rapping with Pusha. Now I understand that this reunion that they have had has been a while, right? This reunion that they have had, they put out their project. I believe they have some Grammy nominations as well. But being a person that comes from the Christian hip hop background, this is a very interesting moment in time. What am I talking about? Well, we know that Malice, as much as he is a part of that legendary Clipse group, he is also a part, a very integral part in where Christian hip hop wanted to go and where it was around that 2014 2013 era, somewhere off in there, 2014, 2013, maybe even 2015. Malice was making big leaps and big bounds into being in Christian hip hop. He didn't do interviews like that. You can go and catch a couple, some being with Rapzilla, others being quoted in certain magazines. But one of the things that if you go and you look at any of his comments, and if you listen to his music, one of the things that constantly came up was, hey, Malice, if you decide to come back, or is there ever a world where you and your brother Push would be together, would do some type of reunion? At this time that he was getting a lot of these questions, there were a lot of people speaking on him, like at this time that he would get in these questions. A lot of people were making reunion tours and coming back and different things like that. For example, there is a reunion tour of New Edition and coming up, right? So this is normal. Janet Jackson is touring again. You got Monica and Ashanti them touring again. You have people like B2K and different ones like that touring again. So obviously somebody like this, you're going to ask the question, hey, I see your brother is making waves and getting into rap beefs and doing different things like that. I see that this is something that he's doing, and because this is your blood brother, essentially even sometimes getting mistaken for twins, we want to know kind of where your head is and your feeling behind being with him, doing this reunion tour. Hey, you ain't got to do much. You don't have to change your beliefs. You don't have to, it ain't got to be, well, if it ain't just about the money. Like, it ain't got to be that. Like, this is your brother and you guys make music together. And because so many people are having a reunion and it's been a decade since you guys have actually been together, will there ever be a possibility of you and him rejoining forces and actually trying to become something again, or getting us a reunion album? Malice's answer was always the same. Nah, nothing is worth me getting back into that lifestyle. That was a lot of what he would constantly say. Like, hey, I'm good. I know the money's good. I know things are happening, but that's not my MO. I don't care what everybody else is doing. That's not what I'm about to do. I believe around the when something in the Water Festival first started popping off real heavy, we know that is a Virginia festival that Pharrell throws and headlines. So those from the Virginia area are going to get a lot of play, and people are going to want to see them there because this is a local, for all intents and purposes, this is a local festival. So they're going to want to see a lot of their local artists. We know Pharrell reps VA very, very heavy. We know that I believe Briss Breezy is from VA. We know that Missy Elliott is from VA. And I know Missy has actually been a part of that festival as well. So these things are something that people are going to want to happen when their locals are here. But the thing still stays the same. When Malice was asked about these things all the time, the answer would always be the same. It would always be the same. Why would it be the same? Because he, in his walk of faith, in his strongness and boldness, money does not matter to me. There is no reason that I already have enough. There's no reason that we have to chase this. And Christian hip hop as a whole kind of celebrated this. Me personally, I was kind of like, bruh, it's your brother. This is family. People like myself that comes from a very tight-knit family understands. People love to say, blood is thicker than water, but sometimes water do you a bit better, or however that goes. And I'm inclined to believe that a little bit, but I'm always erring on the side of blood is thicker than water. When it comes to family, certain rules are made to be broken. For example, coming from where I come from, coming from a small church, a Pentecostal church, you didn't miss church for a lot of things. However, you would miss church if it was a family function. What's good, Jay? I'm all right, bro. You would miss if there was something to do with your family, maybe a birthday, maybe something like that. There are a few things, and I hate to say it like this, but there are a few things that come above your service to the church or what have you. I may get in trouble for saying this, but a lot of people feel that family is kind of one of those non-negotiables. However, in Malice's case, that was not the point. In Malice's case, no matter what it was that you asked him about him joining back with his brother, about him going on tour with his brother, no matter the question asked, no matter how much money was offered, he would always say, we good. Like, I'm okay. There's nothing really out there for me when it comes to this, right? So again, people in the Christian hip hop circles really big up him for this. But now, as it has been, like I said, I believe it's been a little bit over a year. They came out with the joint project. I know that this was a surprise to me, and I'm hearing them a lot on the radio now, and I'm trying to kind of decipher his lyrics to see what he's speaking on, to see if he went back, because to make a drastic change in the way that Malice made his change, to throw away everything that got you to where you are, you making all of this money, you doing all of these things, to cast that aside and to follow Christ like a biblical Christian is supposed to do, it's very interesting that now we are having these things where you are now joined forces back with your brother who didn't come on this side of the line, who didn't try to change his outlook, who still engaged in the beefs, who still made sure to be as petty as he could and to be the bully on the block when it came to diss records. Like, that's what he was doing. It when the conversation came to Malice, as far as, oh, hey, have you had any conversations with Push? Has there been any? It's like, yeah, we talk all the time. Like, that's my brother. Yes, there's been conversations about us doing a reunion tour, and I know the money is out there, but I've always told him no. Yet we're here now, and he's no longer saying no. And my question is, I wonder how Christian hip hop is kind of accepting this. How are they moving forward? Because as a Christian hip hop community, this is not anything that we have seen before. Like, it's normally the other way around, right? We've seen plenty of people leave Christian hip hop, go to mainstream, come back. We've seen plenty of people leave mainstream, come to Christian hip hop, and stay. Yet, when it comes to people leaving mainstream or leaving the world, coming to see or coming to try and see what's good with Christian hip hop, actually making a mark. Because mind you, this wasn't just somebody. I've seen this. People come over to Christian hip hop, they think shit is sweet, and they get to trying to make music and they try to be popular. It just doesn't pop off for them in that way. However, Malice is a totally different situation. In Malice's case, he came over, put a footprint. Obviously, Christian hip hop media was all over him trying to make sure, because mind you, outside of Cray and a few others, maybe a Kirk Franklin or a Darkchild, there aren't many people with his notoriety within the space. So anytime any celebrity tries to make this move to Christian hip hop, a fairly small space, not as small as what it used to be, but a fairly small or niche space, the media and everybody are going to flock to that person and see how they're moving and say, look, see, we're cool. We're cool now. We're not lame. Look at this guy. He left it all for us. We're not lame. So I just wonder, in this situation, or in Malice's situation, this is totally different, right? This is a guy who decided that I'm going to come and do Christian hip hop for a while. Him and Bizzle were close. They did a lot of records together. He was like an honorary GOM, kind of the way that Hog Mob is associated, but not really a part of GOM. That's kind of the way that Malice was moving. And he didn't really do many collabs like that with the space. It was a few people that he rapped with. But now we are here where we are seeing him back with his brother. And I wonder if Christian hip hop, to me, what it feels like is Christian hip hop kind of just let it go. Like they were kind of like, hey, we are okay. Like we are good with the service that you provided us for the years that you were here. You left. I mean, it is what it is. The fact that you even got here is kind of one of those things where we're like, I mean, we didn't expect, but you're here, you did it, you meant what you said, and now you're moving on. So we really don't care like that. Again, these things happen where artists like Lecrae leave Christian hip hop and go chase the mainstream. And I don't want to say chase because I don't believe that that's what Cray was doing, but for all intents and purposes, and what everybody else is thinking or saying, went to mainstream, was pretty successful, very successful, and came back fully in Christian hip hop. Honestly, a true fan would tell you that Cray never left Christian hip hop. So there is that piece. I'm one of those. His message changed. Wouldn't say watered down, but it was a bit more direct to the streets and a more cryptic to the church, but he still accomplished the things that he wanted to accomplish. K Alico is another one. I don't know what he's going by these days, but he's another one that left GOM, had the split, had everything that they had going on, went out to mainstream hip hop, did a couple, I believe he had real success, went and did what he was supposed to do or what he wanted to do. I don't know how exactly it turned out. Some would say maybe not that good. That's the reason why he wound up coming back. But regardless of any of that, that is the general story of what happens to Christian hip hop artists. Now we know about John Gibbs and his move and the signing with the major label that he had and different things like that. He didn't come back to this side. But that is the anomaly. And when we're speaking about Malice, this too is the anomaly where Malice has totally flipped the script. I don't remember seeing Outrage. Now, mind you, I've been a bit disassociated with the space over the past couple years. It is what it is. But I remember when they joined up and they started putting music out again, and they talked about being at festivals together. Matter of fact, when he was joining him as something in the Waterfest, I don't even think anybody actually questioned it. Because again, when it is your brother, when we're talking about blood and a brother's bond or a sibling's bond is a little bit tighter than a cousin's bond. It's a little bit different than the bond of a child and a parent. Is a little bit different than the grandkids and different. It's different. Uncle, nephew, uncle, aunt, whatever. This is a different type of bond. I say that being the oldest of three, we're all boys. Y'all know how it is with me. When it comes to my brothers, there is nothing wrong that you can say about them to me, or we're going to have a problem. I feel like that is my right and my responsibility as the brother, as these being my brothers. Am I my brother's keeper? Yes, I am. That being said, it is my purpose and my fulfillment to dissuade any disparaging remarks that you may have about my family. And don't get too disrespectful, because then we're going to have real problems. So again, there are those things where it's like, when the family is kind of talking about one and kind of when it's your brother or when it's your sister or your sibling, you kind of get on that horse and you be like, hey, not too much. Like, these are my people. Yeah, they're not really rocking with us in the way, but understand, this is my brother. I will die behind mine. I will get it in. Trust and believe. And that was kind of the thing that I noticed when Malice was being asked these questions. Malice was very, at the end of the day, it's still my brother. Yes, I've made these decisions. Yes, I've made these choices. Yes, they differ from my brother's current status. But understand, at the end of the day, that's still little bro. Okay. So I understand. So every time I would hear him have a conversation or be asked about these things, I would still kind of be like, that sounds kind of like there's a window there. Although in conversations, I would defend it. No. He said, this is what he said. But here we are now. Does this have more to do with a brother's bond? Or does this have more to do with the fact that he just got tired of Christian hip hop? Again, how is Christian hip hop reacting right now in hearing this? Do we not care? Maybe not. I mean, I don't, but I'm in a whole different mindset of where I once was. Christian hip hop, on the other hand, I know that we've constantly had a problem with letting people go. That's the reason why people are still in certain conversations. But when it came to Malice, it seems as if no one really cared. It's a combo of both. Okay. Right. It's a combo of both. He came, he saw, he conquered, he did whatever, and we didn't expect him to really be over here like that anyway. So he's free to go. If that is the case, then why can't we do that to everybody else? If it is the case of where Christian hip hop essentially is allowing Malice to go, no problems, no questions asked, nothing of the sort, I believe it has a lot to do with it being his brother. Again, those of us who have brothers understand kind of his stance. Maybe that's what it is. It wasn't like he just went back and started, blaspheming and really being this heathen, right? I remember when I went and checked on K Alico's music, his music was totally different. Like this, he went straight for the moneymaker, if you know what I'm talking about. Okay. And it made sense, right? Oh, you get to not be in Christian hip hop. So now you get to do these things that you've always wanted to do. Got it. But in Malice's case, I believe he is getting the pass because it's like, oh, this is brother. He was already doing that beforehand. How long did we really think he was going to be over here? Those of us who grew up in Christian communities and Christian culture, this is a forever decision, right? But this is the reason why we created the show that we created. Understanding that who you are now could be totally different 10 years from now, should be if you're growing, and it's totally different to who you were 10 years ago. Understanding that just because you made one decision, that does not change the fact that you were this and that you still believe in this. If you choose to move a different way, who am I to say that you no longer love Christ? Who am I to say that you no longer are a part of Christ or a part of the Christian family because you decided to do things a bit differently? I love to bring this up. tattoos was a big taboo thing that you did not speak about in church. Yet, and I will say this, with the emergence of Christian hip hop, with the help of those urban youth leaders, those urban youth ministers, that is in fact kind of what led to this of people having more tattoos and it being more acceptable, right? Because we're not going to kick them out the church. We're not going to sit here and judge you, because we're going to lose the only thing that connects us to the people that we can't otherwise connect with. So I don't know. I just would like to know what is the reason that we're not tripping? I mean, who in CHH could Malice really work with at this point? It ain't too many dudes in this space that are super lyrical. Okay. And if that is a concern of his, I hear you. But let's not act like they're not out there. Let's not act like an Andy Mineo or a Jackie Hill Perry, especially a JHP, or, No Big Deal, who he can put some lyrics together in a very decent manner and word play well. Maybe not over some boom bap that Malice would like to rap over, but he can. And it's not about not necessarily. It's not about that. Do we make our decision to go back on things that we said 10 years ago based off of whether or not we can? There are people that are on my level in a space. Like I don't know how. I don't know that to be true. I don't know how accurate that is, but I hear you. Again, that points to my point of maybe he got bored with Christian hip hop, but that hasn't stopped other artists from stepping out and making records with people that they think are dope. Paris Careers, huge about that. If he thinks you're dope, he's going to put you on a record. No matter what your music says outside of this, before or after, as long as you are a fire artist, if I personally appreciate your music, I'm going to put you on the record. I believe more people are leaning towards this. I done mentioned Craig's name about 30 times in this one video. Y'all already know how he moves. Y'all know how he can get it. Y'all know what happens. I want to say D1 as well. Put Lupe on a record. Lupe isn't Christian. I believe Lupe has faith, but he ain't Christian. Doesn't D1 got a record with Manny Fresh or whatever the case? My point is, these people are Big Crit. D1 got a record with Big Crit as well. And the game. My point is, they don't necessarily have to be on your level as long as they talk about what you need them to talk about in a record. Maybe there are some people out there that just won't do it unless it means something or it matches or we vibe well together on a record. I remember one time asking Bizzle for an interview and he was like, yo, unless I know you, I don't work with you. Mind you, we still got the interview because we them niggas. But the fact of the matter is he made sure to make that clear. And it actually made sense when you went back and you looked at Bizzle's interviews and you looked at his features. They were very tight-knit. A lot of them were right within that Hog Mob camp or that GOM camp, or there may have been a couple Reach records. No pun intended. That was good. But that it made sense. I was like, oh, okay, he means it. You want to build, you want to get a relationship, and then move along the lines of doing some actual work together. I've heard about these things kind of happening like this in the industry before, where people don't do interviews with other people or they don't do features with people that they don't have a real working relationship with or a friendship with. But in the case of Malice, again, I ask, why are we not tripping? Me? Why am I not tripping? Because where I see people now, I don't hold them to it as much as what I used to. I'm not so matter of fact when it comes to people moving a certain way, especially in the artistic lane. I believe that you can make art that doesn't directly reflect you. Yes, there are plenty of rappers who have been on trial and been in cases and really been involved in these things that they're speaking about. But there are plenty of other rappers who rap about these things and they live as far away from these things as possible. T Grizzly, shout out to him. He's now putting out music where he's legitimately saying, I ain't jumping in the field no more. I ain't crashing out like that no more. I got kids and a wife. I just did a bid. There's no way that I can see myself in my status now being that same guy. Now, I could talk about it. I could talk about what it used to be like. I could talk about if it really got there, what it would mean. But honestly, that's not me. That is the normal instance of artists. So again, if I don't attach art to the person. I don't attach art to truly be the reality of a person. That's the point of social media, right? You can be someone and never have to back it up, never have to prove it. So in my case, because I don't believe that art truly reflects the person totally, I think he's good. I think it's funny. I do laugh about it because I think it's hilarious that, you know, he was he was like really gung-ho and matter of fact and stood by what he was saying. And I believe he meant it. Don't get it twisted. I believe Malice meant it. But now, here we are, and we don't have nothing to judge but what you said previously, because this brings a lot of questions. I thought you were going to, but I thought you said, but remember this right here. That's what happens, but that's the reason why I don't hope, because I've said things back when. If y'all go back and y'all watch the old crew videos, the J that stands before you now is way different. When I first started, no kids, no marriage. I was just out here. All I did was go to church. The J that stands before you now, 4 kids, been married over 10 years, still trying to get it in. Like, my life experience, my experiences with life and with people are totally different now. So y'all get a different person. Not because I switched up, not because I changed, or I guess you could say I have changed, but rightfully so. You're not going to be the same person if you've actually grown, if you actually matured, if you actually have seen people and reacted with people. You're not going to, and you've actually seen life and done life. That's what I used to say all the time. That's why when a lot of people say certain things, oh, I've never, and I won't, and I never have, and I never will. Just live a little. Just live a little. Because I've done plenty of things now that I thought I would never do. That 18-year-old me would be like, who is that? It comes with life. It comes with change. So I'm not holding Malice up to this. I find it very funny that the outrage isn't as loud as it was with Cray, but I get it. Malice ain't the go-to Christian hip-hop. Cray is. But there's still been other people who've been able to, who have went out here and have been under the rock of so much Christian hip-hop criticism. Yet it's like when it comes to Malice, and I think it has a lot to do with who he was and how long he was with us. As a matter of fact, when Malice quietly left, Malice wasn't even putting out music no more. Malice was working out and just talking to people all day. Malice wasn't putting out music. He wasn't doing collabs with nobody. So once he fell out the spotlight, maybe this is the way, right? Maybe this is the easy way. Since he kind of fell out of the eyesight of Christian hip hop, fell off of the start, because mind you, everybody was trying to get an interview with him. Everybody was trying to figure out what he was doing. Everybody was trying to see what was going on. But because he fell out of that certain spotlight, maybe this is why he was able to do this and nobody batted an eye. Maybe it was one of them things. I mean, hey, yeah, it is what it is. We don't care. We don't care. It was Malice. He wasn't really offering much to the space anyway. So, hey, we're good. Maybe that's what it is. Let me see here. You're making good points, especially the Paris Careers point. Exactly. That's my thing. Paris Careers is an excellent example. He's one that I like to pull up a lot when these topics come up. Let's see. This Malice is a legend in hip hop culture as a whole at this point. I just think we're not tripping because he can do whatever he wants now, and he probably let me see here. Do what he wants, and he probably found the freedom to speak on it. Yeah, maybe. And I think that's the biggest issue within Christian hip hop, or one of the biggest issues within Christian hip hop, that we feel that there are certain, or the artist feels like there are certain topics and certain things that they can't cover, certain things that they can't say, certain things that they can't be a part of or be associated with the fear of disappointing the fans or the space or the culture. Now, as time has progressed, more and more people have decided to be like, hey, it's me, it's my life, I'm gonna do what I want. Andy Mineo making the transition that he's making now and making the type of music that he wants to make now, not being a part of that Reach record label, it changes a lot. Not being in that space and having true control over your art, it matters a lot. So yeah, I get it. Yeah, you're right. Let's see here. Curious, do you believe in the cancellation of artists, or do you think artists and their music should always be separated, even if they did really bad stuff? See, that is actually a really good question. That's a really good question. And the reason it's a really good question is because of the point that you just made. I separate artist and art almost always until they get convicted. Until they get convicted. Because then at the point I'm like, oh, you really was about that. Like, oh, you really were doing it. And it depends, right? I don't separate artist and art that much in mainstream, unless it's somebody talking about being promiscuous or anything like that, and they are, obviously married. Give me a couple of seconds, guys. I'm gonna run this. We'll get it. But I'm gonna keep talking. So hold on. Let me do this real quick. So here's my deal. Okay. I do rather separate artists and art, especially in the Christian space. And I hate to say this, but because I know, or I have seen the way some of these artists are outside of doing Christian rap. And let me say this as well. I know who I was outside of bringing you guys media every week or whatever the case is. Those who followed me past or post Christian hip hop, those y'all have seen me react and say things and do things that you otherwise wouldn't have seen me do within Christian hip hop. Now, one of the things that I will say in regards to this as well is that boy, so many damn ads. The other thing that I will say to this is I made sure to give you all the truest version of me that I was allowed to give without, how can I put this? I gave you guys the most real version of me that I absolutely positively could. Did that change the way people saw us? Did that change the way that we were approached? Did that change? Not in most cases, because in most cases, people who followed us all throughout just followed us because we were all real and authentic. Okay? So when things changed, right? When things went about, or when we started pushing the boundary a bit more, when we started being even more edgy than what we were, when we started being a bit more real and talking about topics that didn't want to talk about, when we got to doing all of that, people just took it at all. They're still them. They're just being a bit more free. And we never caught any flack about it. I believe the only person that actually tried or that actually said a little bit, we had two people. One was what is his name? DJ Wado. My fault. Shouts out to DJ Wado. One was DJ Wado. And the crazy part about it was DJ Wado did not say anything when we first got into space. And more than likely that was because he probably did not expect us to be who we are. And that's fine. We were fresh, we were new, we were doing things that was a bit unorthodox. We were kind of, just moving in what some would say a reckless fashion. And that was different for DJ Wado, a legendary DJ within Christian hip hop. Big influence, legend within the space. It was different for a lot of people. So when we first, he didn't say anything to us at that point. He just kind of let it be. It was what it was. And I don't think we had a name. DJ Wado made a comeback. 2019, 2018, maybe. I want to say that was around that time frame. And he called us on Twitter. And we were speaking and having a conversation with our people because we understand the people that follow us. We understand the people that watch us. So we know what's up and we interact with them on the way, especially Twitter, X, formerly known as Twitter, especially when that was kind of a lot more unhinged. Some would say it's even worse now. But we were having conversations with our people, and those on Twitter who followed us on Twitter knew the type of conversations we would like to have on there and the type of raw realness that we were. And I remember DJ Wado was like, nah, when you first came, you blah, blah, you was this, you was that. I can't remember what the conversation was, but he was kind of telling us like, hey, when you first came out, people wasn't rocking with you. People felt like this. And one of the things that I shot back at him with was, no, you just didn't get it. We've always been this way. People have always rocked with us. You've been gone. So this conversation that we're having right now is irrelevant. Now, I wound up running into DJ Wado in 2020. We actually have video of that interaction, and we actually had a conversation about how it was when we first came. Matter of fact, he did say something to us when we first got in. And what that was stop using my footage. That's what it was. Said, man, you've used too much of our footage. And it was a conversation about Lecrae. I wanted him doing some commentary, but he was like, hey, you could have at least asked. And he was real chill about it. Like, hey, if you just kind of ask me, man, I'll let you blah, blah, blah. And because of who he was, I made sure not to have any waves, whatever. It is what it was. Man, my fault, big dog, I understood. Now, when he came back, we were different. We were in a different space. I knew who he was. But we were in a totally different space. So at that point, I felt like I could have a more real and better conversation with him. So with that being said, hey, it's all good, Marshall. It's all good, bro. I'm just trying to see where my people are. So I don't know who's getting notifications at this point. I'm just trying to see where my people are. But big shouts out to you for joining us, man. I appreciate it. So when he came back, we knew who we were. We understood what we had built. And we understand that he hadn't been there. So when he came back, it was a bit more, you didn't get it. We know who we are. We know what we've built. And we've made sure to create a forever lasting lane in this space. We did something different. We were disruptors. And now I can stand on it and speak on it. But again, I ran into him, I believe it was 2020, maybe it was 2021, at a festival in Virginia. Big shouts out to that. I can't even call it a festival now. It's been so crazy. But the festival in Virginia, crazy festival out there. Had a lot of fun. But I actually met DJ Wado in person for the first time, and we got to have a conversation on camera. Y'all can go and look at that. It's up on our page. Domination. Yeah, Domination Fest. I believe that's what it was called. And we were there. So with that being said, got to have a conversation. We got to tell, our sides that everything was good. I still respect DJ Wado to this day. I know we're still moving within the space. Big shouts out to DJ Wado. The other person that had something to say about kind of what we were doing was D1. And it was later towards the end. D1 was like, yo, yeah, you'll have people acting crazy, like Jay taking his shirt off and everything. And I thought about that. I was like, yeah, see, you were trying to, or having a conversation, kind of letting us know that you wasn't with the shit without actually telling us, right? You came on the channel, you had the conversation, everything was copacetic, and that was the end, right? That was it. Cool. D1 has always been cool. Been on our show multiple times. D1 has never been one to really come at us. But at that moment, when I had that conversation with him, and I'm always thinking when people talk to me, I was like, there you go. Okay, I understand. So that was the other person. But outside of that, nobody really said anything. Nobody really, really had a problem with what we were doing. But I've always tried to get back on this. I've always tried to give you all the most raw and authentic version of us on camera, no matter what that looked like. Even down to, yes, taking my shirt off on camera. And that was not on nothing other than that's just how I was feeling in the moment. And that's how we were moving. Period. Nothing more, nothing less. Trying to see if I can get my why my camera acting up, y'all? Why is it acting up? Let me do this. Because I want to look at y'all. I want to look at you guys. So give me a second, man. I'm gonna fixing my camera right now. Hey, thank y'all for everybody who's in here, man. Make sure y'all if y'all haven't subscribed, make sure y'all hit that subscribe button as well. And make sure y'all tell a friend since y'all not getting our notifications. Make sure y'all let us know. I think we're about to get back on, y'all. Yeah, I think we're about to get back on. All right, here we go. Give me a second. I'm jumping on now. I don't know how long it's gonna be, but when it's back, it's back. Feel me? When it's back, it's back. All right, I'm on here now. Here we go. Let me see. Okay, so I got that. Here we go. Boom! Back in effect. Yeah, I thought y'all got rid of me. Anyway, let me see what's going on. D1 seems like he kind of depends on straw man arguments anyway. Every time I see him say something, a small part of me is like, I don't know, man. Kind of shaky. shaky. Now, yeah, I don't know, man. When it comes to D1, and D1 is, again, that's my guy. My kids love D1. He's always been dope to us, but yeah. Okay, I'll say this before I say that about D1. I'll say this. D1 has never changed in that instance. D1 has always been a person. He was one of the first to actually go against the industry legitimately, meaning turning down record deals and then living to speak about it. to the point where he's having like real life beefs. Like these guys are having podcasts and discussions about him because and I think that has a lot to do with as well that he's so involved within the community. So that's the way his name gets around. But yeah, sometimes you can kind of catch a D1 conversation and you're like, wait a minute. But I don't know if I want to side with that argument right now. I don't know. But he's definitely been one to just be straightforward within that. But back to what I was saying. So yeah, I've always tried to give you all as much of me as I've been able to get apart this. We're talking about separating the artist and separating the art. When it comes to mainstream or when it comes to Christian hip hop, I've always separated the artists and separated their art because I understand who they are. I've seen artists outside of this space be a bit more raw and authentic and real than you guys have been let in on. I know again how we, the Hip Hop Corner, were off camera, and those who've had interactions with us know as well that. But one of the things that people would say when they saw us was that we weren't much different than our regular conversations on the phone or what they saw on camera. I tried to keep it that clear because I didn't want you to catch us in a situation where we may be using some language that you didn't otherwise think someone in Christian media should be using. And now you're, oh my God. I can't believe that. No, you can't say that because that's what we have shown you guys in public. I want you to see all of us so that if you caught us in public when no one's watching, because that's the problem. Everybody puts up a facade until they feel like no one is watching. And I wanted the situation to be that if no one was watching, that you guys would still see us as the same and there would be no surprises. So there were, as much as I could, we were true to that. So we never had any issues outside, but I've always made sure to separate the artist and the art. Now, when it comes to mainstream, okay, just because of how this story is, I do separate artists and the art until I hear of a conviction or something that really shows that they really get down like that. And then I'm like, so this was like a diary. My bad. This was a journal. My fault. Today's injury. But for the most part, like, I don't feel like that some of these niggas who's married, i.e. T-Pain, is really out here getting the cheeks from everybody that he wants to. Granted, he has said him and his wife has done a lot of experimenting, but I doubt it's as horny as he makes it, right? Highly doubt that. When we talk about some of these women and who are in committed relationships, speaking of like somebody like a Lotto, I'm sure she's not giving it up to everybody that she thinks that it was. Or same thing that goes with Nicki Minaj. She's not, while she's lyrically and in her videos displaying this for everyone to see, she's not really doing that when she got Kenneth Perry at home. Like, so again, I separate the artist and the art in both mainstream and in Christian hip hop. So when these things happen, I mean, YNW Melly was one of my favorite artists at the time before he got locked up. A good case of, I really don't think murder's been on your mind. I really don't think you shot your friend until he went and was like convicted, or not convicted, but on trial for shooting his friend. And then I was like, my bad. You're right. So, yeah, to answer your question, even when they've done really, really bad things, if they got convicted, or if there was a problem, or whatever the case is, something really happened where somebody was really harmed and they are being accused of this, or these things, fall upon them, or if it's been proven that they have really done these things, and you at one time spoke about it in your music about you doing those things, then how am I supposed to separate the art and the artist. Gunna is a prime example of us separating the artist from the art. This man went to court and already told y'all that this ain't nothing that he wanted to be a part of, nothing he knew about. Them was all thugs people. Whatever the case is, already been on Crime Stoppers once and y'all fell for it. But now a national series of events is happening and taking place that has his name all in it. Yet after he gets out and he tells y'all, after he done already told the DAs and told everybody else that, hey, I ain't about that life, and he gets out and he puts out phenomenal music, by the way, ain't nobody worried about whether he's truly living this. Obviously, he's getting number ones out here, getting top radio plays, whatever the case is, awards. Nobody care. People have already done that. People have already separated the art from the artist. In this one instance, that lets you, and that's a recent instance. That's letting you know. That's letting you know right there that I'm not the only one that does this, but yeah, that's me. Hey, another interesting thing. I don't know if y'all know, but did y'all know that there's currently a trans athlete in front of the Supreme Court arguing that a law that was put into place is discriminatory? Now, this person, Becky, if you want to look up the case, it is BPJ versus West Virginia. But this person, Becky, has representatives taking their matter before the Supreme Court and arguing the fact that a law that was put into place is discriminatory. Is discriminatory against them specifically and people like them. And when I first heard this, when I first heard about this, I said, yeah, you actually right. There is a way that this could be discriminatory. Now, hold on. Just follow me here. I was like, if your definition of being discriminatory is a law or something that is specifically for me and specifically for those like me, this don't apply to nobody else but those that look, act, and feel like me. If that is your case for discrimination, then you're right. And I was all prepared to just give it that stamp of approval. Like, I mean, that's no big deal. I don't care to go down this rabbit hole. But if you're stating that that is your cause or that is your reason for discrimination, then, or for saying something is discriminating, then yeah, we can go with that. I want to look up, before I continue my point, let me look up the meaning for discrimination, right? Dang, if I can, this ain't right, y'all, but that's why I'm not showing y'all this. Wow. Okay, hold on. Damn. All right. So all right. So here is the actual definition of discrimination. I haven't read it yet. I'm gonna read it with you guys first. Discrimination. Okay. It is the unfair prejudicial. I noticed prejudice. I don't know. Anyways, the unfair, prejudicial, or unequal treatment of individuals or groups based on characteristics like race, gender, age, religion, disability, or sexual orientation, often rooted as by. Okay, all right, bro. All right. So the basis of this case. Okay. So again, we're talking about BPJ versus West Virginia that is currently being heard in front of the Supreme Court. And one of the things that they are arguing is the fact that the law that was put into place is discriminatory towards them by and using their sex, basically being discriminating against their sex that they've chosen, or I'm guessing they're also stating their Virginia, or not Virginia. What? Their gender. I believe that they are trying to argue their gender. Now, the case or the let me see here. Here we go. Let me see. I know, bro. Hey, chill out. Leave me alone. Leave me alone. Leave me alone. Hey, my fault. My fault. All right. So with this, oh my gosh. Oh, it's been a long day. Hey, I got it. My fault. My fault. My fault. Okay. So, all right. So let me finish. Okay. So the whole thing of this, there was a law that was put into place, I believe in 2021. Yeah, that's exactly what it's saying, where essentially it was banning trans athletes from entering women's sports, stating that the biological designation of a person at birth is the appropriate sport or gender they should be sporting with, or gender they should be competing against. There we go. That's a good word. Okay. And they are stating that because one of the arguments that was brought before the Supreme Court was this isn't fair and it is discriminatory against them because they, Becky, have never hit puberty, male puberty to be exact, stating that because they've been on puberty blockers for however long and they never hit male puberty, they do not have an unfair advantage to the girls that are also competing. Now, when this went before the Supreme Court, or when this first started gaining a bunch of steam, Becky was in middle school, and Becky did not, or was banned from participating in girls' sports at the time. And so they're stating that there was no reason to ban Becky because there is no unfair advantage. Now, I was already kind of like, what? Because one of the things that I love to bring this up, because I believe that it is the most drastic comparison, but it makes the case so much more. They are stating that there is no unfair advantage because they never hit male puberty with whatever happens through male puberty. I only remember the acne, but for whatever happens through male puberty, they're stating that, I guess, growth spurts are a part of this, maybe getting faster, stronger, bigger, whatever. That is the unfair advantage, that children before that are on the same playing field. Yet when we speak about men's and women's combat sports, they don't put these people in the same categories for one reason. Not saying that there isn't a woman out there that can beat a dude. Nobody is saying that. Those people actually, I'm sure, exist depending. However, there are certain things that makes it a bit more difficult for that to happen because of our physical makeup. We're a bit more dense. Our fists are larger by whatever, 150-pound man versus 150-pound woman. And if they balled their fist up and you looked at both of them, their fists would not look the same, right? Just more muscle, can carry more muscle mass. Like there are things that just make it a bit more where it's like, you might come out on top, but it's not going to be as easy as if I said, all right, dude, you go in there, you fight her, and you shouldn't really have many issues. If you win, it's like a duh. But if she wins, oh my gosh. But if everybody was on the same playing field, why would that matter? Now, again, their argument is that because they never hit the male puberty, that they have no unfair advantage. But just bear with me, just go out during this weekend. I know there are a lot of events going on. Football is still going on, like all-star football. Basketball is really picking up right now. A lot of tournaments going on and different things like that. But go watch these kids 5 to 9, 10, 11, and watch when a girl is next to a boy at that same age. Look at the difference. My son is 10 years old, and I still have not ran across anyone who's as fast as he is. And I'm not saying that just for it being my son, but I will say that anywhere that we have been, there hasn't been a girl come close just from his natural gifted ability, whether they are his age or even older. I've seen him beat kids 2-3 years older than him. That's how fast he is. That they don't come close. And he's not really hit puberty yet. So there is always, biologically, that's why it's in your genes, it's in your makeup, there is always an advantage between men and women just biologically. If we're speaking mentally, like, I don't know. I don't think you can say, yeah, men and women shouldn't compete in a debate team because they are smarter than, I don't know. It doesn't work that way. Intelligence is weighted the same. But when we're talking about pure muscle mass and we're talking about pure athletic ability, I think that, there is an advantage there. There is an advantage there. Speaking of football, I thought the Eagles was going to be in the Super Bowl. No, me being a Cowboys fan, I'm happy about that. I am happy about that. I'm not mad at it. I will say this, though. News just came out that Shedeur Sanders is named a Pro Bowler. I believe out of 7 starts, he was 3-4, 7 touchdowns for 10 interceptions. Look, I am a big Shedeur fan, but come on, man. This just adds to the mockery of what the Pro Bowl really is to the fans, to the football people that be, to the players. Like, this proves to the mockery. But it's all about the views. It's all about the engagement. It's all about the people that are tuning in. This is something that they had to move from being after the Super Bowl because nobody was paying attention. And we know that he was the biggest talked about thing, the most talked about backup, being talked about more than any of the starters. And yet, Mr. Shedeur Sanders is a Pro Bowler. How does that make y'all feel? Does that add any credence to what a lot of these people are speaking about when they say, oh, this game doesn't matter? Oh, that's the reason why we don't go there hard. Like, the NBA is having this problem right now where they're trying to figure out how to get these players to go harder. They kind of figured out that that offering money actually works, which is something that they've been saying And I know people, they've been saying this for years, and I know people sit here and they be like, oh, well, they already make so much money. So how can that motivate them? Man, cream. Cash rules everything around me. And the fact of the matter is no matter how much money you got, it's never enough. I think there was a moment that they had spoke to, I believe it was Rockefeller, and they was like, yo, I think it was something like, how much money is enough? Or, when will you be satisfied? When will you feel like you've had enough? Or how much more do you think will be enough? And he said, just a little bit more. Just a little bit more. Why? Because we will never, ever be satisfied. But here we are with Shedeur Sanders being a Pro Bowler, and his stats wouldn't necessarily say that he deserves to be a Pro Bowler. Nothing about his stats state that he should be a Pro Bowler. Again, I told you, within the past 7 games that he started, 3 and 4, 7 touchdowns, 10 interceptions. Now, I actually did watch those games, and those games were amazing. Those games were exciting. Those games definitely got me up out of my seat. I was rooting for Shedeur because of the way they treated him. We all know the story. Fell to the 5th round. Really probably should have been, if not a first round, definitely a second round pick. Could have been could have saved somebody's franchise. Probably could have saved the Browns franchise, honestly, if they would have played him a little bit earlier or a little bit more. But that ain't what happened. So we know that he is worth the talent. Help turn around a Buffalo, not Chicago, Buffalo, my fault. A Colorado, Buffalo program around, along with his father. Like, we know that he has the talent. That was the reason why he was so talked about, and the reason why he was talked about as much as he was. So, with that being said, we know, with that being said, we know that he can bring the eyes, right? And I think that that's why the NFL actually did this. I think that's why it actually decided to make him a Pro Bowl selection, because they knew that he would bring the eyes. But when you see other people who have done certain things, when you see other people who have been just as great, when you see other people who did a bit more with their team that you could have called, i.e. maybe a Justin Herbert, I don't know. You chose to call a Shedeur Sanders who, by some's assessment, he didn't do enough to be on here. He didn't do enough to be a Pro Bowler. But then you have players saying, this is what we're talking about. Anybody that you could have called, and we called Shedeur. Again, I like Shedeur. That was my favorite play right there. I like Shedeur. He got me up out of my seat. He gave you something to hope for. It was pretty. He is one of the best passers of the ball right now in the league. When we talk about a pure passer, throws dots consistently. But a Pro Bowler? Imagine if this had happened in the NBA. A player average on a team at the bottom of the league. Let's say average, maybe only started, let's see, they generally do it at 42 games. maybe only started, let's see, 7 of 18. Let's say maybe only started 15, the last 15 games. Maybe averaging somewhere like 2-4 points, somewhere off in there. And they get called an all-star. How y'all feel about that? Right? This would again be a reason why everybody would be like, yeah, see, this is exactly what we're talking about. This is it. This is the reason why we don't really mess with the All-Star game. People want us to go 100%. People want us to go full speed. But don't nobody really want to. It's a joke. For what? This is a rest for us. We got 40 games after this. Why would we go hard? This is one of the few times that we get to have a rest. This is one of the few times that we actually get to have a rest, and you want us to go 1,000%, like we're legitimately getting paid for it. Y'all aren't getting paid for this, but y'all want us to risk injury. Some of us are on our last hurrah. Some of us are on our last hurrah, and we're actually in a good spot with our teams. We're actually in a good area where we might be able to win a championship this year. And you feel as if we should go 100% for a game that really ain't that serious. I heard Gilbert Arenas talk about it, and I was watching him, and he said the reason why we don't do this, for one, the game ain't even being called like a game. Y'all letting people beat us up. Fouls that y'all would call in the regular season, y'all acting like that this All-Star game is like an NBA playoff. We're not getting the same calls. We literally can hurt us. Why would we go 100%? Then I heard somebody speaking, an ex-NFL player, they said, if you don't go 100% in a game, going 98% in a game could get you hurt. Because if you're going 98 and the other person is going at 100%, they could seriously hurt you, injure you, make sure you're not playing again. Now, for them, this is happening after the season. They got months to recover. Not saying that it doesn't matter. But people, when it comes to the All-Star game, man, they got 40 games left. What we going to go hard for? If you want us to go hard, call it like a real game. But honestly, some of us are getting a 2-week break because we weren't NBA All-Stars. So we big chilling. Why should the 24 people that got selected to the NBA All-Star game, why should they be the ones that they have to go hard while everybody else is sitting around, man? But this with Shedeur being a Pro Bowler adds to the noise around these All-Star games where people don't feel that people play hard. Now, I believe that they play hard in the McDonald's All-American game. High school students still trying to make it in the league. I believe they play hard do they have All-Star in college? I'm not sure. But if they do, I'm sure they play hard. These Senior Bowls, I know they play pretty hard. It's their last chance to get noticed somewhere. If people don't already made it, they're not even going to the Senior Bowl. But they play hard. But when it comes to these pro athletes who has families, careers, endorsement deals, and everything else to think about, they're not worried about some game where the fans just get to see these people. Now, granted, the fans make the world turn around. You wouldn't be able to have a league if it wasn't for fans supporting you. So, yeah, maybe you should give some sort of effort, but all the fans want to see you. They don't really care about y'all going hard when we're talking about the NBA All-Star. They just want to see dope-ass dunks. People actually go one-on-one. They love seeing Steph shoot it from the logo. Just turn it into a show. The NFL did a great job when they kind of turned it into games when people still wanted the real give me helmets, give me pads. But everything can be, fun and playing. When J.J. Watt went out for a pass being guarded by another defensive tackle, like I'm sure the crowd went nuts because that's something different. Hey, Jay, do you think Shedeur Sanders is going to get a Super Bowl championship first or Lamar Jackson? Wow. I'm going to go Lamar Jackson. If Shedeur Sanders stays on the Browns, I do not believe that Shedeur is going to win in Browns. The Browns seem allergic to winning. They just seem allergic to being good. They have sucked my entire life. And if he stays there, I don't believe we will see him winning a Super Bowl at all. When we're talking about Lamar Jackson, they just recently switched his coach. I think fans just want to see NBA Street. Exactly. NBA Street in real life? Yeah, remember that game. Loved NBA Street, man. One of all-time favorite games ever. NBA Street is where it's at. Hey, I do like NBA Home Court because you got to create your home court, but NBA Street 2 is elite. Me and my son actually still play that whenever we can find it. So, yeah. Nah, that game is like that. But Lamar Jackson, he just switched his coach. Honestly, that team is still that team. Still got King Henry a part of that. Roquan Smith, that defense is still nice. I'm sure that Lamar Jackson will not be hurt coming back. Hopefully he'll be healthy. I don't see him, having a year like this all the time because he's not going to stay hurt. But yeah, I think that Lamar is going to be Lamar because he's the veteran. He is more talented than Shedeur. Is he a better passer of the football? He can pass the football better. I don't know, but he's got a lot more experience, more playoff wins, more playoff. Yeah, it's as it stands now, Lamar should win within the next 3 years or so. As it stands now. If it goes longer than that, let's say, do I see? So you would have that I see Shedeur Sanders winning a Super Bowl in the next 5 years or so. No, if he stays with the Browns, there's no way in hell. If he goes somewhere else, let's say like a Dallas, come on, Shedeur, he probably could. Because the thing about Shedeur is while he did throw a lot of interceptions this year, like I said, 10 interceptions, he's honestly risk averse when it comes to throwing the football. He's able to fit it in tight holes and he doesn't risk it. I think he was taking a lot of those chances during this year because of who the Browns were and just trying to bring excitement, trying to prove that he deserved the number one spot. But he normally wouldn't throw across his body. He normally wouldn't just allow it to hang up in the air. And had they had a better line and he had time to actually think about what he was doing, some would say that they probably, some weird way, could have made the playoffs. So if they can get all that fixed, yeah, because that defense is crazy. Just fix that line, give them a few more weapons. When we talk about receivers, his running back Judkins is nice. The Browns might be able to do it, but do I see them doing that in 5 years? Still hanging on to his prime? I don't know. You start losing people. You maybe don't have the same squad that you once had. A lot of things change, man. He would have to strike within the next 2 to 3 years, and I don't see that happening. Mind you, the Eagles did it. The Eagles were able to switch up their entire line in a matter of 2-3 years and then made it to the Super Bowl and won a Super Bowl. And so it can be done, but that was a lot of money they dropped. And one of the things that I learned about people in professional sports, some owners don't really care about winning. They just care about people coming to the games, and they got Shedeur. So people are going to come to the games as long as they have Shedeur. And they like standing in that little hope lane, like having something to hope for. When you think about athletes in the G League, what keeps them in the G League from going overseas is the hope that they're going to get into the NBA. And they'll spend 20 years in the G League, never get an NBA contract, and lose out on their prime and not make nearly the amount of money that they could have made playing overseas because of the hope or the chance at a 10-day contract to prove I deserve an NBA roster and to prove the chance that I can go over there and do that. That is wild. So people will continue to come to the games. If you have a star quarterback and somebody who can throw the lights out and bring excitement to a place, they're going to stay around because they hope, because I know he can do it. We just got to get everything else fixed. And a lot of times the owners are not on that same time frame, and they don't, I doubt a lot of times that's really what they want to do. Like they really want to give Shedeur a shot, or they really want their team to win. We're successful and we have, man, look, let me look at this. How much, what is the Browns' value? Just to see. Just to see. Y'all look at this. Look at this. The Browns' value right now is $6.4 billion. The Browns haven't won anything ever, and they're worth $6.4 billion. I don't understand. Make this make sense, guys. They don't have to win. They're worth $6.4 billion, which means the fans and the community and the NFL is pumping dollars into them, and they don't have to do anything. 6.4 billies. They don't have to worry about trying to win. For what? It makes zero sense. Zilch to them. Zilch. Come on, man. If that's what I'm saying. That's my point. Why? Why on earth would we try to win whenever we're worth that much money? Whenever y'all say that our standard, that our personal standard is good enough. We're worth $6.4 billion. We're good. That's good enough. That's good enough. Come on, man. But look, I want to finish this conversation. You already know what in the world's going on, but I want to finish this conversation in regards to what was quietly happening on the Supreme Court. Thank y'all so much for being here. Thank y'all so much for showing up to the live, man. It means so much whenever y'all support and y'all interact. I love talking to y'all. Y'all crack me up. I have a lot of things that I love to get off my chest at times, man. And it feels great to be able to come in here, to be able to talk to y'all, and to be able to get it off my chest. So the last thing, like I said, just to kind of revisit this, because this was the whole reason I got on here to begin with, man. I'm trying to find my creativity back. And I'm having a lot of fun doing this. So I want to, this was something that really paused for a cause, because I thought that this was so interesting. So currently right now, it is being heard in front of the Supreme Court. A trans athlete is getting their case heard currently before the Supreme Court. And the argument is that there is a law that was passed in 2021 where it states that trans athletes, or athletes period, doesn't say anything about trans, but athletes period, should and will participate in the competition, or the athletic competition. They will compete with athletes that are of the exact gender that you were assigned at birth biologically. And the argument that's being heard in front of the Supreme Court right now is that this law is discriminatory against this individual. Now, how is this discriminatory, you might add? Here's my thing. I say, when I first heard about this, I was like, you know what? I believe that they are correct. This could, in fact, be discriminatory. Why? Because if your definition of being discriminated against is that people who look like you, people who act like you, people who feel the way that you do are the subject of this one law, then and it's just against the ones that look and feel and think the way that I do, then that is discriminatory against those people. And before I actually jumped into this story, because it was very interesting, I said, you know what? They actually have a point. Yes. You, if that is your definition of discrimination, you are 1000% being discriminated against for good reason. For good reason. But just on the simple basis of you thinking, or you're bringing this beforehand and saying that this is what's happening, yes, this is in fact discriminatory. But then as I got to diving into this information, and as I got into diving into this story, I found out that their basis of discrimination is that this person, BPJ, known as Becky, never hit male puberty. So this doesn't apply to them, or shouldn't apply to them, or isn't fair that it applies to them, because it does not give them any unfair advantage because they never hit male puberty. Now, I don't know what male puberty is about. All I remember is the squeaky voice and the acne. That's about it. Hormones crazy, of course, but that's about the extent of puberty, right? Did I run faster? Faster than, yeah, okay, I got faster because I got older, but I was always not that fast. Did I get more athletic? Not really. I was always athletic, actually. So there wasn't this drastic change to where I was jumping out of the gym and I couldn't do it before. I was always short, and I was able to touch rim, or close. I got close to dunking one time. I just scared myself and never jumped again. Message to anybody or to everybody: take the leap, jump when appropriate. Okay, don't be afraid. But I don't remember a significant change. I know that anytime that I raced against a girl, wrestled a girl, played basketball against a girl, whatever it was that was physical, ran across the monkey bars, whatever the case is, I won. I wasn't the fastest boy, the most athletic boy at the time, none of that, but I beat girls because naturally we have an unfair advantage. Prior to any sort of puberty hitting, we have the unfair the advantage. Just we're built different. I mean, it's just that we are built different. This is the reason why, outside of the lion kingdom, or outside of the animal kingdom, this is why in most cases the men are the hunters. We are built to hunt. We are built to provide. We are built to protect. Because that's just naturally, we're bigger, we're faster, we're strong. Just naturally, from birth. Is there a woman out there that can beat a man in a sport? Of course. But just naturally, we're built this way. But this is what's being argued before the Supreme Court, and they're, like I said, they're stating that, and I just don't understand how you can feel that way. Now, this person is now in high school. These events happened while they were in middle school, and they were banned from participating in girl sports because, according to their biology, they were at one point they were a boy, and they should be competing in boy sports. And I love bringing this up. If it didn't matter, if all parts are created equal, we would see more women doing combat sports with men. And that just isn't going to happen just because brutally it just wouldn't be a pretty sight. Again, is there a woman out there that can beat a man? Of course. But if we took the top man, the man at his peak, the champion, and we had the woman at her peak, the champion, the man would come out on top. I have no doubt about that. No gender roles, no none of that. I'm just saying that is the case. But the fact that this has almost been swept up under the rug and is showing so much of what is going on right now. I was having a conversation with my wife and she was like, I just don't understand what they want. And I told her they want to be treated normal. They don't want the rules to change even though they've changed. They don't, that is what they do not want. It is not fair that the rules change for them, that when they transitioned, they want to be handled in the same way that they were being handled beforehand. And I got to thinking, and I'm like, but you aren't awarded certain luxuries depending on your gender. As a man, you're not awarded going first, getting the door open for you, people being polite just to be polite, getting up, giving you their seat. You're not awarded that. But as a woman, you are. And so I wonder, when they make that transition, girl becomes a man. When they make that transition, are they expected? I mean, do you still expect that? Oh, you're a man now. Do you still expect the door to be held open for you? It just doesn't happen because physically you look like a man. We're not helping you. That's just how that works. So if that same thing isn't the same, why do you want certain things that if you just love track that much and you wanted to run that much, you could have did it as a male, competing against a male. I know the solution to this. My wife gave me a perfect solution to this. They should have a league. There should be a law put into place, something, because this is going to continue to happen until something like that. And I think this is a way that we can all get what we want. I think this is a way that we can all find out about, we can all be satisfied. And that way is they should have some sort of a league. There should be some sort of, if this is an epidemic, if this is something that is really going on, if this is something that people really care about, there should be there should be a team. All right, every school has, like, you have a girls basketball team, you have a boys basketball team, make a transgender basketball team. Do we have to have 4 teams? Trans man, trans woman? No, we don't have to. I say we could do just one, just a transgender. If you want to do 4, fine. But I know what the issue is. I know what that's going to be. Right now, there is not enough to create that, right? Not unless you change the rules. But see, here we go. We're doing something that you said you really don't want done for you, right? Now Now we're changing the rules. But we could, right? Okay, maybe only 3 to a team, 3-on-3. Like, I'm not saying that's something we have to do. If you can go find 5, if you can go find 10 and 12 that go to the same school and we can create, let's do that. Right now, you're just trying to worry about inclusion. But here's the funny thing, y'all. Here's the funny thing. When black people and white people were not able to play on the same team, you know what black people did? We created our own league. We said, you know what? You right. Forget it. You don't want to let us play with you. You don't want to let us go and be created as equals. Fine. We are going to create our own league. We're going to be on our own team. And we are going to make the noise so loud that there is no denying us into your league. This is what I believe trans people should do. Now, that comes with a lot. Legislation, a lot of people to jump on board. There's a lot of people that are not as progressive. You're still dealing with the right and the left. Look, I get it. But that's the only way that this is going to work. We're talking about being treated fair and equally, right? We are speaking on being treated in a way that doesn't make you feel or look or seem different. But you are, unfortunately. And that comes with its own type of disadvantages and hurdles. But much like us, since people want to say that what they are going through is the same as what black people went through with the civil rights movement. I've heard these things. If that is what people are saying, and that's what people are saying the reason why, and that's why this fight is so hard, and this is what they want to do, fine. Then you have to go through the same struggles we did. If this is what you really want, America, the land of the free, home of the brave, if you want to be treated equally, unfortunately, you got to go through all of this. And this is what they have in front of the Supreme Court right now. Now, my last reading of this said that the Supreme Court seems to be leaning in the way of dismissing this. Like, yeah, no, you don't really have a case. And if that is the fact, I mean, yeah, it makes perfect sense. If that's it, it makes perfect sense. If that's the case, you got to keep going through this. You got to keep getting denied. The difference is, let's say, hell, black people created a whole sport. Hockey was started by us. Why can't trans? Exactly, right? This is my thing. A lane. We talk about creating a lane. Rock and roll. That was us. Hip hop. That was us. We did because no one wanted to accept us when we came in. I'm sure Chuck Berry tried to go and play, somewhere nice, but he had his little riff, and had his little thing that he was doing, and they was like, hey, we don't do that here, sir. None of that. None of that demons music. We need to find somewhere else. He had to create it. And then when the people found out how good it was, how nice it was, they jacked it. And that's one of the biggest genres ever created. Okay? So when we talking about that, it happens. So all I'm saying is if you really want I think the difference is they want the fast track. They want, because mind you, I mean, if we really think about this, the rights that they are getting are very like, these are recent rights that they're getting. I believe 2013, 2014 was the time that it became like truly legal to marry. I believe so. So these laws and these rights that they are getting are they're very new. They're very recent, okay? So if we are in fact going to get the same rights, if you're going to fight this, you got to go through the same stuff. And unfortunately, this is what it. Nobody should just be like, you know what? We're a whole different country now than what we were 20 years ago, and let's just rip this up and let's just change. No, it ain't gonna work that way. What I believe should happen is if you had your own leagues, if you had your own teams, if you had your own lane, then at that point, people would start probably treating you as normal. And I know y'all going to say, well, why do we have to do that? Why must we do that? It's not fair. Why did we? Why did we have to? It's not fair. You're right. In the grand scheme of things, it is not fair. But it is what it is. I don't know what to tell you. It is what it is. And this is the view or the current landscape of affairs in America. This is a larger view of how trans people feel and how they want to be accepted. And they want the rules bent to them. Now, this is one that's specifically going at one law in Virginia, stating that them not being able to run track is discriminatory towards them because where else are they going to run at? Well, you, according to this law, can run track in with the dudes, with the boys. But why is this for my thing? If you are truly, in general, if you are truly happy with what you got going on, if you are truly happy with your decision, why is it such a issue or such a pain point that you must compete in the same sport as what you look like? We didn't want to compete in the same sport as what we look like. We wanted to compete in the sport against people that didn't look like us. We wanted to prove that we were the best. I am sure Sha'Carri Richardson will smoke any D1 athlete out there right now. But how is she doing against Noah Lyles? In just a track meet. They the same age, same build. Just look at the fastest women's times versus the let me see. Maybe they're close. Maybe they are close. Maybe. Let me look. Hold on. Let's see. Fastest recorded men's 100 meter versus women's. Here we go. Look, y'all. Look, this is why. This is why. Look at this. This is why. Where are we at? Let me get off this. The fastest recorded men's time in the 100 meter is by none other than Usain the God Bolt at 9.58 seconds. while the fastest women's 100 meter is 10.49 seconds, almost a full second. And in track and field, this matters. Almost a full second slower, and it was set in 1988. It was set in 1988, which means that there are no women created by God himself since 1988 faster than Florence Griffith Joyner or Usain Bolt, whose record has stood at this point almost 20 years. This is why you can't. This right here is why you cannot. And why this law was meant to protect women's sports. Just think about it. All the men, all the boys that want to be women and want to race against women and play against women, Joanna Man will become a reality. You can take, there are what, 350, maybe 450 people in the NBA? You can take number 450 and place that man in the WNBA, and I guarantee you he'll be an all-star. He may not be an MVP. He may not win a trophy, but he is at least going to be an all-star. Do they got first and second team? He's at least making first and second team. This is why. Right here. Yet your argument is you want to be treated fairly. No, wasn't there just I believe that there was a guy who went and competed in women's swimming. Something around like he was the 107, he was ranked like 167th or 107th, and then wound up being ranked in the top 10 when he switched to women's swimming. Like, come on, man. It matters. It matters. Come on, y'all. I'm not like, so again, my point is, they are currently in front of the Supreme Court trying to argue the fact that there is no unfair advantage, but by God's own personal design, we are built differently. And they're trying to argue that we are not. And again, this is more the grand scheme of what people like Becky feel. They want to be treated equally, not really equally. They want to be treated normally. That is what they are chasing. They are chasing normalcy. And with them chasing normalcy, it comes with them having to be on Capitol Hill, having to go in front of the Supreme Court, having to go through these failures, getting your plans and ideas rejected, going through the heartbreak, people like Becky becoming quote unquote modern day martyrs, they have to fail so that the 2-year-old right now that Angelina Jolie is allowing to decide what they want to be and just going with it so they can run middle school track and field. That's where we're at right now. And if we're not careful, if people allowed enough, they want it. How far off is this? I don't know. What'd it take us? 400 years? 500 years? How long did it take us? How long? That should at least be doubled. We should at least double that, because, I mean, if we're talking about, you're not going through the exact same things that we were going through. You get to have the same education. You get to work in the same places. You actually get to use the same restrooms. Sort of. So the fact that you don't have to deal with that, got to add a couple years to that. Might as well go ahead and double it and pass it to the next person. But what are y'all thoughts on this, man? How do y'all feel about this? Do y'all have any issue in regards to this? Does this surprise you at all? Did you even know that this case was going on? I would love to hear your thoughts in regards to this. Let me know. Let me know. I would like to know where you feel. Hold on, let me see. There was one in here. Here we go. Go. I have no investment in the trans LGBTQ communities, so it don't really mean nothing to me. However, I'm not trying to watch a trans person play a sport with people who are naturally that gender. I gotta agree. I mean, for what? For what? Because, and here's the deal. Here's the deal that really sucks about it, right? If you win, that's gonna come with hella ridicule about the fact that you only won because you have the advantage. Like, and is that really what you want? Like, as a trans person, think about that. As a trans person, is that really what you want? Because that's what's going to happen. What? And then you're going to say, oh, well, if you treat me regular, then it shouldn't matter. But unfortunately, it's going to matter. When black people started winning stuff, you know they said we had an unfair advantage because we was black. That's why they like to call us monkeys and stuff. Oh yeah, it's a racial slur. But you know, monkeys are athletic. Monkeys can move. Monkeys are hard to catch. Monkeys are even deceptive at times. Monkeys are sweet and cuddly until you piss them off. So, I mean, that's what they said about us. So why would they not? Why would they not? That, I believe that's just what it's going to come with. That's what it's going to come with. It's going to come with the fact that you're going to be ridiculed regardless. If you win, it's going to come with you only won because you used to be a man or you used to be a woman. Like, that's how that's going to go. Now, the crazy part, that's just the boys becoming women. But you know, I don't ever hear women complaining. I always hear the men who want to be women or becoming women complain that they can't compete in women's sports. But I never really hear the women who become men or who want to be men complain about not being able to compete in men's sports. Why? It's because of exactly what I said. There is an unfair advantage, man. Y'all let me know. You think that the Supreme Court won't take this stuff seriously? I don't either. Like I said, according to the last thing that I looked up, they are siding on pushing this to the left, like not making it what it really is, but we'll see. We will find out, in the coming days, and maybe I'll give y'all an update about that. Until next time, man, make sure y'all hit that like button, hit that red subscribe button. Again, thank y'all. Jay, shouts out to you. Anthony, shouts out to you as well. Love it for y'all to be in here with your boy, man, and we are out of here.